Hi guys, we're going to go ahead and start with our notes on tissues. Hopefully you've read through the packet on the cells. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that. A lot of that should be reviewed from biology. We will go over it a little bit more, the cells part of it, once we get closer to the test and are looking at the study guide just to see what you need to know and if there's any confusion over any of that stuff. So we're going to start with tissues. Tissues are basically composed of two or more different layers or groups of cells that are working together. Okay, they're performing some kind of common function. And there's four main categories of tissues that are found in the human body. The first is epithelial, and that's what we'll be talking about for the most part today. And the next group is connective, and that's the biggest group. It consists of the most types, and these types have the least in common with each other. Okay, it's kind of a catch-all group. And then muscle tissue, there's three different kinds of those. And our last is nervous tissue, and there's just the one type of nervous tissue. So to begin with, epithelial tissues are found all throughout the body. They cover your body's surface, so your skin is made up of epithelial tissues. They cover organs, they help form your glands. They also line your internal organs. One characteristic that is unique to epithelial tissues is that they always have a free surface. Okay, so one side of their cells, okay, whether it's one layer or multiple layers, is going to be attached to something, and the other side is open. Okay, whether it's open to the outside of your body, whether it's open to the inside of your stomach, that's that free surface. Okay, it might be in contact with fluid, but it's not attached to any other type of cell. The part that's attached, okay, to usually it's connective tissue, a different kind of connective tissue, is referred to as the basement membrane. Okay, so if we look, if we have, say, a layer of cells here, okay, there's going to be connective tissue below that. That's all this stuff right there. There's the nucleus for the cells. Okay, so this is that basement membrane. And then the opposite side, okay, this area right in here, there's nothing there. It could be fluid, it could be air, it just depends on its location. Okay, that's the free surface. So that's its free surface, there's its basement membrane. And that's a characteristic that is unique to epithelial tissues. Another characteristic of epithelial tissues is that they lack blood vessels. Okay, so their cells typically don't last a very long time, and so you're going to find them in spots where they can become damaged easily. It's pretty much there to protect you. Okay, so for instance, your outer skin, your epidermis, is composed of epithelial tissue. Because epithelial tissues are in places that can be damaged easily, its cells will actually be capable of dividing rapidly because, as I said, they damage fairly easily, and because its cells do divide rapidly, those injuries tend to heal rapidly, okay? A lot more quickly than, say, a broken bone or a torn muscle. Another characteristic that's unique to epithelial cells is that they're really packed tightly together. There's not really any space in between. And they have a wide variety of functions, including protection. That's probably their main function. They help protect, like, your skin. Okay, waterproofs it, protects you from injury, protects you from pathogens, protects the inner lining of your intestines, your stomach. They also secrete substances. One of the things that they compose is glands. Okay, so they can secrete mucus, sweat. They also absorb different substances and help to excrete different waste, like sweat, for instance. Okay, epithelial tissues are classified according to both their shape and the number of layers of cells. So according to shape, it has to do with whether their cells are thin and flat. If they're thin and flat, they're called squamous cells. If they are shaped like a cube, kind of like a rounded square kind of shape, then they're called cuboidal. And if they're more elongated, they're more of like a vertical rectangle, then they're referred to as columnar epithelium. Now, as far as the number of layers of cells go, Single layers, so if it's just one layer of cells, it's referred to as being simple. If it's multiple layers, then it's called stratified. So you can have stratified squamous, you can have simple squamous. You can have stratified columnar, you can have simple columnar. You just combine those two names or two words together, and that's how you get the different names of tissues or of epithelial tissue. So simple squamous epithelium, if you look at the name, it's made up of one layer of thin, flat cells. Okay? And because it's made up of one layer of these thin, flat cells, it's very easy for substances to pass or diffuse through the simple squamous epithelium. So places that you're going to find them would be within your lungs, in the walls of your capillaries. When you look at these slides under the microscope for simple squamous, hopefully you will see something that looks like this. Okay? So what you're looking for right there, as I circle it, okay, is your simple squamous epithelium. Right there is the basement membrane. This right there is your free surface. And then in between that is your thin, flat layer of cells, your simple squamous. This is in your lungs. In the alveoli, that's where gas exchange takes place. So that's where your carbon dioxide and your oxygen are moving back and through. So when you look at these under the microscope, this is the type of thing that you want to focus in on. This is what you will be tested on when we do our microscope lab test. Our next type of epithelial tissue is your simple cuboidal epithelium. And as you look at the name, it consists of a single layer of cube-shaped cells. You're going to find these in lots of different kinds of glands, like for instance your thyroid glands, your ovaries, which are another type of gland, lining your kidney tubules, as well as the ducts or passageways of other glands. So let's get this a little bit bigger. It's kind of similar to what you saw with the simple squamous. Okay, there's that free surface, that ring around it. But when you look at the cells, if you compare them, these ones are more shaped kind of like a box. They're not as flat. So here is our basement membrane, and here is our free surface, and then in between are these multinucleated or mononucleated, meaning they only have one nucleus, cells kind of form a ring around it that form your simple cuboidal epithelium. Next is our last simple or single layer of epithelium. This is your simple columnar epithelium. These cells can either be ciliated or non-ciliated. Cilia are those little hair-like structures that run on top of the cells. They're used for moving substances, probably over the cells in most cases. They're going to extend from the free surface, so out into that open space. They're constantly moving. A lot of times, especially inside your body, there's going to be different kinds of fluids depending on their location. One instance of ciliated columnar epithelium is found in the uterine tubes. Okay, that's the tubes that connect the ovaries to the uterus. That's the tube that the eggs are going to travel down. So these cilia basically help move the eggs down to the uterus. Okay, and that uterine tube is where fertilization of the eggs would take place. So if we look at the simple columnar, that's these cells that are located right there. Okay, you can kind of see it's much longer than the other cells that we've looked at. So there's your free surface, there's your basement membrane, there's your connective tissue, and this right there would be your simple columnar. Now when you're looking at them underneath the microscope, you probably won't be able to see the cilia. Our microscopes aren't that good of quality in order to look at that. Non-ciliated simple columnar epithelium is going to line the uterus and portions of the digestive tract. The digestive tract one is probably the one that we will actually look at underneath the microscope. Simple columnar functions, some of them will be able to secrete digestive fluids. also capable of absorbing nutrients from digested foods. In the cells that are found in the digestive tract, you have these little microvilli, and they're kind of similar to the cilia, except that they're thicker. They're actually not little like hair-like processes. Instead, they're just extensions of the cytoplasm inside of the cells, and they help to increase the surface area of the free surface so that more of your nutrients can be absorbed. And then embedded within the simple columnar epithelium are these goblet cells, which are kind of shaped like a flask. They kind of look like that a little bit, and then they secrete mucus, okay, which helps with the movement of different substances throughout, like your digestive tract, throughout the uterus, throughout the uterine tubes. So mucus in small doses isn't a bad thing. So when your body produces too much, that you don't feel so good. So just looking at this picture, here's the cell, okay, and then this top part, those are those microvilli. And our last, type of epithelium is pseudostratified columnar epithelium. And pseudo, if we look at that word, means false, okay, or fake. So this type of tissue looks like it's stratified. It looks like it's made up of multiple layers of cells, but it's actually not. Okay? The reason for that is because they have nuclei. The nucleus is kind of, some of them are low, some of them are higher in the cell. They have goblet cells. A lot of times they're ciliated. And you're going to find them in portions of your respiratory tract. Cilia are important to help get dust and particles that you may have inhaled in back out of your lungs. So if we look, this is a big blown up view of pseudostratified columnar. There's one, let's see, there we go. There's one cell right there. There's another cell. But because of the positioning of their nuclei, it's kind of hard. It almost looks like there's multiple layers there. Like there's one there. There's another one. There's another. Okay. But those are really just really long cells. And then this top stuff right there, that is the cilia. And then these are those goblet cells right in there. That's what secretes the mucus. It helps trap the particles, and then the cilia helps push that back out of the cell. And that's where we're going to quit for today. The next time we do notes, we will start with the stratified epithelial tissues.